My lords, today I bring a report detailing exploration of Astral Rift 24, the interdimensional entertainment complex, where we acquired a fantastic substance that drastically increases the regenerative properties of organic beings. Dr. Anne Oakley reports. As we've done several times now, we translated through an astral rift, this time in the Peerless system. The journey through the planes was unremarkable, and we quickly arrived in a bustling star system surrounded by numerous wormholes, voidcraft of various shapes and sizes, and one extremely large, circular, brightly lit station. The enormous structure was covered with multicoloured signs in a garish, unfamiliar alien script. It appears to be an entertainment facility designed to attract an audience for a grand spectacle. Given the number of vessels present, whatever show is going to take place here has drawn quite an impressive crowd. We managed to dock at the busy space station without incident. An alien artificial intelligence signalled us onto the landing pad, and soon after exiting our vessel we were ushered towards the entrance of the facility. The walkway to the entrance was adorned with brightly coloured ribbons and decorations, and it appeared to be quite similar to the circus acts of old Earth. Once inside, we continued our exploration and attempted to blend in as part of the crowd. This was, though, fairly easy, as it was quite clear that there were no single species of alien here. Other than obvious small groups, there was almost every shape and size of creature imaginable: gaseous, solid, liquid, even one or two that appeared to be made completely of energy. As we approached the gates of the central dome, a robotic attendant swabbed each of our hands before allowing us to pass along with the other patrons. Inside, we beheld an amphitheatre of truly epic proportions. The bustling interior was crowded, with each member of the audience focused on the central performance area. No sooner had we taken our places than a troupe of vulpine mammalians in sparkling costumes appeared on stage. After a short display of advanced gymnastics, a small wormhole appeared in the centre of the stage, and one daring acrobat dove inside, shortly before the wormhole winked back out of existence. Then just as fast, another wormhole appeared high above the crowd, ejecting the performer, who deftly tumbled to the ground. The other performers then followed suit, weaving and catching one another in complex patterns through an ever-shifting series of wormholes. The crowd gasped as one of the acrobats slipped into a portal, and it closed, severing a limb from their body. Just as they were about to hit the ground, the wounded performer disappeared through yet another wormhole. The severed arm, however, dropped from the rafters, grabbed a trapeze as it fell, and then flung itself into the air. The one-armed acrobat reappeared and leapt high. They caught and reattached their prosthetic arm in mid-air, and then landed on a pyramid of the other performers in a grand finale. The crowd went wild. The next act appeared soon after. This time it was a large reptilian cyborg, and it lumbered into centre stage. It carried a number of huge metal weights, which it began to toss into its gargantuan jaw. With hydraulics hissing, it spat the weights into the air one after the other, catching them as they fell and launching them back up once again into the air in what would appear to be an effortless juggle. An announcement horn blared, causing some in the audience to stand up. A many-tentacled robot, a bipedal entity, and a living tangle of thick vines walked onto centre stage. These creatures then willingly jumped into the reptilian cyborg's mouth, and allowed them to be deftly juggled in the same manner. Then suddenly, the mechanical beast closed its great gaping maw around the three volunteers and squatted down low, compressing itself against the floor. Its huge frame glowed a molten orange, and once the process was complete, the performer opened its mouth, but only a single creature walked out. It had the bulbous head of the tentacled robot, the torso of the toxoid, and the thick limbs made from the plantoid's intertwined vines. The creature gestured to the crowd and evoked a stunned silence. The cyborg then re-ingested the biological amalgamation and spat out the three individuals once again, who appeared to be as good as new. The crowd's nervous silence quickly erupted into more cheers. The final act, a creature made of thick, grey stone, strolled onto the stage. It began bending into peculiar positions, contorting its blocky limbs into impossible knots, and then suddenly jumped high into the air and landed on wide fingertips to polite applause from the crowd. It would soon become apparent that this was only a setup to the true performance. The creature's movement began to slowly decelerate to the point at which time itself began to reverse. Its figure traced back along the arc of its previous jump and froze in midair. This brought the crowd to life. Suddenly the stasis was broken and the creature returned to the ground and began to transform. Its body changed from a featureless grey stone to a sparkling red crystal, free-flowing sand, brittle blue shale and more. All the while it continued to perform an ever more complicated series of contortions. At the height of its performance, it burst into 1,000 prismatic shards. These froze mid-air in an intricate arrangement, refracting the stage's simple spotlight into a complex display of incredible colours and patterns. The shards slowly rewound themselves until the performer was made whole once again, and the creature left the stage to an unmatched roar from the crowd. The show was over, but the audience was invited to stick around to meet one of the acts. We saw this as an excellent opportunity to study the individual aliens in more detail, as each of them displayed abilities that we cannot even begin to comprehend, let alone replicate. Each performer was incredibly popular, and as such we only had time to see one. We chose to meet with the cyborg more. The reptilian cyborg stood at the height and width of a small transport ship, with a mouth large enough to nearly swallow it as well. Other characteristics included a grayscaled skin, patched with transparent electrical panels, a glowing energy core fastened onto its torso, and alloyed metal limbs complemented it with a complex system of hydraulics. Given its enormous size, the cyborg was anchored solidly to its spot, and could easily have been mistaken for a monument or statue. Many fans had brought the cyborg something to eat, which it seemed to appreciate. The aliens that volunteered to be eaten during the show were also present, posturing as part of the act. We decided to sneak in close and attempt to secure a tissue sample from the creature. However, in our attempts to sneak a piece of the cyborg's tissue, it appeared we angered it. It subsequently vomited a wave of thick, gloopy green slime on myself and the away team, and then we were quickly and roughly escorted out of the facility by security drones. Strangely enough, the slime once studied was observed to have remarkable healing properties on our skin. Small wounds and abrasions cleanly knitted themselves whole and left behind a pleasant sensation. This biologically dense fluid could be used as a solvent for a variety of medicinal and curative therapies back home. It would appear that we made the correct decision visiting the cyborg, and we shall put this new gel into production immediately. Thanks for watching, folks. Which of the performers would you have chosen to meet? Please let me know in the comments below, and as ever, if you want to hear more Stellaris lore, please click the video on screen now.